Let's start it off with the first fight of the night. It is a close one. We got Gable Stevenson minus 4,000 right now. Alicia Ellison is plus 1,100. This is Stevenson's UFC debut. He's a Olympic gold medalist. He is not someone you want to mess with. And I think these odds are probably reflective of how this fight is going to go. Does not necessarily have an impressive MMA record. So I will send it to KJ. KJ, what do you have to add for this one?
I personally think you gave Alicia. I think he prefers Eliza um, more credit than he was due in this one. I think he's going to get absolutely steamrolled. I think the UFC knew what they were doing in picking this matchup and found a way to make sure that their new money train doesn't get, derailed right off the bat. And I think Stevenson goes in there and knocks him out in the first round. I think he will land a few punches, eventually find the takedown and get the ground and pound. I don't see this fight going more than 2.5 minutes. God bless Ellison. This is his second time going against a guy in the UFC and his second fight in the UFC versus someone that the UFC's kind of brought in as someone who I think has a little bit momentum behind him. This is not going to be like a wow fight. This is going to be okay, he's here. Stevenson, he doesn't lose this fight, and it doesn't make it to the second round.
Yeah, none of Ellison's fights have made it to the second round so far, whether he's won or lost. He's got finished twice, and he has 5 first round finishes. Casey, what does this fight do to you, if anything at all, for a gold medalist coming in at the heavyweight division?
Yeah, I mean, look, Stevenson's his name's one that's been getting floated around in MMA circles. I'm excited to see him fight. I wish that there was a little bit more of an exciting matchup and a little bit more of a threat presented to him in his debut than what it seems like Ellison is going to offer. Ellison, I learned in my research the other day, his nickname is the Snack Panther. So I feel like there's just more credible and threatening fighters to present Stevenson with to make a but it's why it's on the prelims, right? It's not on the main card because it should be a quick and easy fight for Stevenson. Neither of these guys has much of a track record. I mean, Stevenson, this is his debut in the UFC, but I think Ellison, the Snack Panther, I believe this is only his second fight in the UFC. I believe he got finished early in his debut late last year. So look, this would be a no bet for me. I don't bet anything really above, minus 4,000, or I'm sorry, I don't bet anything minus 300 favorites or worse odds. I mean, I guess I would look at maybe Stevenson by first round knockout if there's something close to even money or slightly positive odds, but and it doesn't seem like Ellison's even worth the flyer as the big underdog. So to me, this is let's check out Stevenson, see what he looks like in his debut. But from a betting angle, from a handicapping perspective, kind of a non-event in my eyes.
Well, from a betting perspective, you just dialed directly into my brain. I've placed one bet on this card so far, and the props for the Stevenson fight just came out today, at least on FanDuel, and I took Stevenson first round KO at minus 165. I thought that was pretty decent odds for such a big favorite fighting a guy who's never made it out of the first round. I was expecting that to be closer to minus 400, minus 500, especially Stevenson's gone from like minus 2,500 up to minus 4,000 this week. So I was very happy to get him at that odds, and I placed about a 3-unit bet from me on that. So I'll probably be starting off with a big fat loss as he He'll knock him out in like 3 seconds into the second round. KJ, anything else to add on this one?
No, I mean, I think you're safe. But
Well,
the only thing I'm curious about is if he finds his neck. What's Stevenson by first round submission?
that was my only concern as a club and sub, or just takes him down and is dominates him wrestling and submits him. I think it was plus 350 first round submission when I checked it earlier. I'm checking
He
it right
hasn't won
now.
a fight by, I mean, obviously the incredible wrestling background. He hasn't won a fight by submission yet. He's coming in at 265. He's huge for heavy. Like, I don't see Ellison escaping the power, but I mean, that does show me why it might be one minus 165 because they might say he could choke him out, which is possible, but I still think minus 165 is great value for first round knockout.
Yeah, and first round submission is plus 360 still. So that does worry me a little bit. I am on the wrong side of these a lot, but I
One
mean,
unit.
I think they're setting him up for a first round knockout with this matchup, and I think we can probably move on from there. Or Casey, do you have anything
Right.
else?
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, I'm just looking at it, and like, I kind of want to throw a pick in on every card if that's what we're doing, or on every fight if that's what we're doing.
Do it.
Is there? Do you think there's any value in like a finishing or the what's this bet called? Winning round two plus 475. Do you guys like? Is that good enough odds to take a flyer that Ellison gets out of round one and Stevenson doesn't finish him till round two, or do you think you just take either the knockout or the submission in round one?
I think it's
I mean,
bait.
yeah, I I don't think it's crazy for it to get into the second round, but neither one of these guys has been in the second round yet. I don't think. I think Stevenson's all first round finishes, so there could be value, but I don't see it ending in the second. So I
Yep.
would pick one of those.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I'll go ahead and take. I'm looking at DraftKings. Gabe Stevenson to win by KO in round one, minus 225 is what I'm showing
See, I'm still showing that at minus 165 on FanDuel.
on FanDuel.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right.
It's that big a difference.
Yeah.
That's what all the odds I sent earlier, so we'll go off that for now. So
Yeah, we'll take. I'll switch
you'll-
over to FanDuel.
okay, we'll give you that 165. All right, let's move on to the next fight of the night, which is a awesome matchup. We got Nikita Krylov at he's at plus 114 right now against Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whitaker at minus 148. This is an awesome fight. Whitaker's second fight moving up, I believe. He's at 205 now. So he is a little bit smaller. I think Krylov has 3 inches on him and is the underdog. And I'm just going to lead off right now. I like Krylov on this. I think this is a pretty even matchup. He was a bigger underdog earlier in the week, but I still think in a 50-50 matchup, getting him at a plus number is decent. I like him 3 inches taller. I don't think Whitaker is quite as dangerous up at 205. So I'm going Krylov on this one. Let's go, KJ. What do you got on this one?
I don't hate where you're coming from. I don't agree where you're coming from. So Krylov is really good. He seems to be one of those guys that finds a big win, gets into the top 15, loses, gets back into the 115, top 15, loses. And usually what he provides is a speed advantage. He loses it big time in this fight. And I think Whitaker has a better gas tank as well. He's been in, a lot of bigger fights. I mean, we're talking about the former middleweight champ. Um, I like Whitaker kind of weathering a first round storm and then putting it on him in the second and third round. I'd like to pick Whitaker by knockout. I don't know if he'll find it, but I haven't looked at the odds yet, so I don't know how skewed that would, make my pick on this one. But I think Whitaker, second, third round definitely takes this fight over. I'd lean his way. I mean, we go with the experience, a guy that knows how to win. Um, and Krylov, like I said, super fun, but if he doesn't finish Whitaker right away, which Whitaker is pretty good at, staying in there. He's fought everybody. I see him winning this one.
Okay, I like that you're on the opposite side. We have a winner and a loser instead of us, possibly both being losers or a winner. I like the difference. Casey, what do you got on this one?
I'm going to take Whitaker as well. We haven't seen Whitaker fight since almost a year ago now. Last July was the last time he fought, and funny enough, Krylov was actually on that card. He lost to Guskov, and Whitaker lost to RDR last July. So they were on the same card, and I don't like when I haven't seen a guy's form in a year to really make a judgment. I guess I might have seen Krylov earlier this year in January. He was on the Gaethje Paddy Pimblett card, so I must have watched him. I don't remember the Bukakis fight. I don't remember seeing Krylov. I don't remember that too much of that fight. It looks like he knocked him out in the third round, but Whitaker is one of those guys who's been around. I like kind of the track record of his last 5 fights. I mean, it's kind of a who's who in his weight classes. His last 4 fights, he beat Paulo Costa, who we just saw win a nice fight on the Miami card, right? And then he beat Ikram. And then he's lost to 2 good fighters in Khamzat and RDR in his last 2 fights. He went the distance with RDR. There's no shame in getting submitted in round 1 by Khamzat, right? So I just like Whitaker. I think he's going to have the speed advantage, and he's just the guy I'm more familiar with. So I'm going to take Whitaker. I'm going to take Whitaker. And probably what's the over under 2.5 rounds?
No, I think it's 2.5 on this one.
You know what? I think I'm going to take Whitaker. I'm going to take Whitaker, and I'm going to take the over.
Krylov does win and lose on his shield a lot, I will say.
Yeah, that was. I of course take notes on these, and I get flustered trying to get from fight to fight and getting the odds up, and I don't even reference them. I had on this one of the reasons I like him is when I was looking at Whitaker's losses going through, it's RDR, it's Khamzat, it's Drakus, it's Israel. All awesome fighters, but all fighters that are got a couple inches on him. And he seems to kind of struggle with guys that have reach and have size, and this is just another guy that has that size on him. And I went ahead and placed a bet as we were talking just because it caught my eye. Krylov has 31 wins, 29 of those are finishes. So I just took him by finish at plus 220. I think those are decent odds. I do think there is a chance it goes to decision just because Whitaker is somewhat durable. But when he loses, I mean, Israel knocked him out, Drakus knocked him out, and Khamzat subbed him. So it's not like he can't be finished. And he's up, 20 pounds. I obviously like it enough that I threw in a bet, just 1 unit, so not a 3-unit bet like Stevenson, but that's where I'm at. Casey, what'd you decide to go with?
Yeah, I'm going to take will the fight go the distance? Yes, at plus 124 currently.
Okay.
I'm glad we were able to talk Ryan into doubling down on his bet. We went against him, but he said, "I must be right." That's great.
No, I don't hate where you guys are coming from, and it's not like I'll be shocked if Bobby Knuckles wins. I actually kind of like him. I did see it this week. He's already talking about how he might want to do one more fight after this in Australia and right off to the sunset. Oh, I don't know if he said one more, but he was talking about his retirement fight in Australia whenever
They're only a year apart.
I know, but whenever you hear a fighter start talking about retirement and stuff, you kind of
I
are
agree.
you
I
get a
agree.
little bit of question like, oh, what are are they training like Bobby was training, when he was fighting Israel 5 years ago? Probably because it's crazy to get in the ring and not be training like that, but always just a little bit in your head. And I know I did look at how much younger, and he's 35 and 34, so it's not a huge difference. So this takes us to the main card of the night, and that starts with King Green versus Terrence McKinney. This is an awesome matchup. I'll let Casey start us off with this one. Casey, what do you have on this one? As a more casual MMA fan, does this matchup get you excited? One, and then what do you have on this?
Yeah, I mean, T-Rex, Terrence McKinney, he's a firecracker, right? He comes out and he just throws bombs, and it seems like every fight he's in ends in like 30, 45 seconds. King Green, he had an exciting fight. Who'd he tap out in his last fight? Jeremy Stevens. Yeah, Jeremy Stevens, KJ's boy. And he's won 3 fights in a row. This is a tough one for me to pick unless T-Rex gets him early and kind of catches him and has one of his signature kind of early knockouts just with that initial flurry. I think King Green, the longer we go past 1-2 minutes into the first round, the better chances King Green has, and I think King Green will be able to withstand that early flurry from Terrence. So I'm going to take King Green. I did not see odds on FanDuel as of 2 minutes ago, so I'm switching back to DraftKings to see if they have odds.
So on FanDuel, for some reason, it's not on the main card; it's on the other fights. Currently, King Green is plus 126. McKinney's minus 162.
I'll take King Green at plus 126. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, I see KJ salivating at those odds, so I will throw it to him next. You obviously have a big lean on this. What do you got?
Casey surprised me with that one. There was a lot of mutual feelings coming out on that one. I agree. I mean, T Rex, Terrence McKinney, Seattle boy, I think, kind of familiar with his fight camp. Dude, he's fun. Like, win or lose, the guy comes out firing, right? So I got nothing against him. He's the type of fighter that I want to see in there. But Bobby Green, dude, he's 39 years old. He seems so smooth lately. The way he gets around punches. I mean, obviously we saw the Patty fight, which didn't end well for him. He's gotten caught a lot, but he's looked great lately. I can see him kind of evading a little bit of an early onslaught, kind of ducking away and just finding McKinney. And I definitely see him. This is one too that I could definitely see going by a submission possibly. I could see it getting to the ground, him sinking his hooks in, finding his neck. So I'd lean knockout, but I could see a submission happening. I like Green for sure. Getting him at money, I'm not gonna like flirt with a round, but I'm gonna flirt with a round. I think he gets it done in the first because that's when McKinney seems to win or lose. So Green in the first round, I think's super sexy. But yeah, I like Green a ton in this fight. I'm kind of surprised that he is an underdog. McKinney, another guy coming off a great win, but he's a win lose, win lose, win lose guy. I'm not saying that Green's not, but I think Green's more polished, and I like Green a lot in this one too.
Well, he is plus 260 to win in round one, and he's plus 390 to win by KO in round one, and plus 1200 to win by submission in round one. So if you like him in round one, there's some juicy odds for sure. I agree. That is a very enticing way to play it. McKinney, I mean, his last 7 fights have been in the first round. And then he had 2 that went into the second round, and then his last 4 that first. So it's a first round finished almost every time with McKinney. Bobby Green has the ability to knock him out. I think that's how I'm going to play it. Just the method of victory is King Green is plus 210 currently to win by knockout. The sub does scare me a little bit. But McKinney kind of charges in. I think Bobby Green's just going to catch him, stun him, and finish him with big shots on the ground. At least that's what I'm hoping for. So I'm just going King Green by KO at plus 210. We're all on the same side. That's a little bit scary.
KJ, should we be worried about the age difference here? I mean, I'm just looking at it and trying to cover all my bases. I mean, you got King Green, he's about to be 40 years old. You got T Rex is 31, kind of in the prime of his, the peak athleticism, and probably has a little bit more cardio, stamina. Is the younger lad in this fight something that we need to be concerned about? Because look, I mean, I say that the longer the fight goes, the better it is for King Green, and the numbers prove that out. Neither of these guys have a small sample size of fights. T-Rex is 18-8. King Green is 35-17. So we're talking about 52 and 26 fights. McKinney's average fight time is 2 minutes and 36 seconds, and King Green's is 10 minutes and 46 seconds. So on average, McKinney fights for about 20% of the time that King Green does. So that leads me to believe that the longer it goes, the better it should be for Green. But I don't know. Yeah, that's where I'm looking for some guidance from you.
I think you just talked yourself out of where you would be worried, right? If it were the other way around and McKinney's average fight was 10 minutes plus and Green was 3 minutes and or less than 3 minutes, and you were like,
Yep.
is eight like yes. If it showed history showed us that his gas tank is what takes him to the finish line, then absolutely you'd lean towards the guy with the youth. But in a fight like this, where like it's just fireworks right away, especially from McKinney's side, I don't think age really gets a chance to play a factor. I think it's literally just what do you have for me in the first 5 minutes? And that's where like I gotta go Green.
Yep. Good. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, and if anything, I think you can't really make any comments about McKinney's gas tank because you simply just haven't seen it. His last 15 fights have all been first or second round finishes, and we've seen King Green go the distance so many times. So yes, it strongly favors him the longer the fight goes.
And I think Green 2 fights ago, the one before Stevens against was it Baja Mendez? He or one of those like
Zellhuber.
Spanish dudes. Oh,
Daniel.
Zellenberger. Okay, yeah, I get those two mixed up. But that was a third round finish, I believe. And dude, he looked great through the entire fight. It was either late second or
Late
somewhere in the
second.
third.
Late second.
Okay, yeah. But again, against a
4:55 of the
guy
second
who
round.
had
Yep.
a younger guy who had a great gas tank that was supposed to win that fight, and I was on the losing end of that. But like Green looks good. I can't look at the age because he just looks like he's in his prime.
Yeah, and his two most recent losses, Patty and Rufy. I mean, who else are you going to lose to in that division that's any tougher? I mean, Gaethje, I guess, Ilya, but
BSD.
yeah, I mean, his wins are pretty impressive too. So I'm super excited for this one. I think it's a great matchup to get the card started. It was crazy to me at one point that the Stevenson fight was listed above this. I think, and the Whitaker fight, but I think they made the right call to get those both ahead of that one because those are both very interesting fights. And this next fight is also a banger fight, one that's at a division that is not my favorite overall, but Brandon Royval taking on Loney Kavanaugh, the Brit, fighting on International Fight Week with his man Paddy Pimblett and then the Irishman Conor McGregor. So should be a big UK presence in the house. But Royval is plus 175 right now, and Kavanaugh is minus 230. So pretty big favorite overall, and what should be a really good stand-up matchup. KJ, we'll go to you on this one first. What do you think is happening in this matchup at 125?
So, like I said, I didn't pay attention to the odds because I didn't want them to sway me. I am surprised by these ones. Royval, I mean, his last two losses are to Pantoja and Van, the most recent former champ and the current champ. So hard to knock those against him.
It was
Sean,
Van and Kopp were his two most recent.
yeah, okay. So Cop knocked him out, who's probably going to end up fighting for a title soon, and then Van. All right, still two pretty hard losses to judge someone by. And then Kavanaugh is coming off a win off of Brandon Moreno, right?
Yes.
That was a big win. I personally think Kavanaugh having the youth and kind of finding his way. I'm leaning big on him. I did not expect him to be that big of a favorite, to be honest with you. I figured that Roy Val, having the experience that he's had and the success that he's had in the division, would make it more of kind of a coin flip. But I do like Kavanaugh a lot, and I think that the loss that Kavanaugh had late in the fight against Charles Johnson, who we just saw throw up an absolute dud. Um, but Johnson has that late firepower that, found Kavanaugh and got him out of there. I think that he's kind of made some of the corrections that humbled him a little bit. He's experienced a loss, and I expect him to really find some energy from it. I like Kavanaugh a lot in this one. I think he does find Roy Val. I like him in the second round. Lean by Kavanaugh. That's my heavy pick, but I like him in the second round by knockout. I personally do. That's where I like him right here.
Wow, that will be very juicy odds. Kavanaugh by second round knockout is plus 950. He's plus, I saw he's plus 850 just to win in the second round. So you might as well just take it at plus 850 just for that slight chance he gets a sub or a club and sub for some reason, if it's only plus 100 more. But Casey, what do you think is going to happen in this? And do you know much about Lonnie Kavanaugh? As someone who is
I don't.
okay, I'm a UFC guy and I'm very excited about him, but I feel like he's a unknown to most people.
Yeah, and look, I'm kind of like you. These little midgets, they don't really, I don't know, resonate with me the same way. Like they don't have the knockout power. I know they're quick and they're fine. Like you can see some good fights in this, the little guy division, but I don't know. Like I don't really know either of these. I can give a pick. I've done some research and I've watched some highlights of both. Look at Royval, the Raw Dog. I'll call him Raw Dog for all intents and purposes moving forward. But the Raw Dog, he seems like he's a grizzled vet that's been around the block and kind of has a variety of different ways that he can beat someone. So he's tempting at plus 180 to plus 200 type odds. Kavanaugh, though, I don't know. From what I saw on YouTube and what I'm reading, I think he's the play here. Royval, he's had a nice career, but Kavanaugh, he's kind of the young and up and comer. He put on a great performance in Mexico City. I'll take Kavanaugh, I guess, and I'll just follow KJ's lead. I think here, and I'll take Kavanaugh by just knockout, not second round knockout, but I'll take Kavanaugh by knockout. What are my odds there?
By KO is plus 240 right now. So.
Okay, yeah, I'll take Kavanaugh by knockout, any round.
Okay, I don't hate that. I came into this fight really thinking I was going to bet on Kavanaugh. I do think he's the better fighter. I think he probably wins this. I was close to having my pick be by knockout at plus 240. I just don't think that's quite juicy enough odds with someone like Royval, who's been in there with everyone. I mean, he's fought Pantoja multiple times. He's fought Moreno. He got a win over Tatsuya Taira, fought Kopp and Van, gone to decision with Van. So if you can go to decision with Van, I feel like you can probably get to decision with Kavanaugh right now. So when I was looking at the bets, what I came to like the most, honestly, surprised me. It was Royval by points at plus 400. I think those are just decent odds. I thought this would be way closer to a pick 'em. I think his path to victory is probably by points. I don't see him finishing Kavanaugh. So I think that's what my bet is going to be. Even though I'm a Loney fan. I like him. I want him to be excited. I want him to knock Royval out. I just don't think it's actually going to happen. And I agree with Casey. These little guys. I mean, I can't imagine being under 5'10". It's just pathetic, you know.
Listen,
That was
he
not
and
it.
Roy
That was
are
not
the same height.
You're not 125 though, are you?
I mean, I was when I was 10, but
Yeah, yeah.
No,
I
I was
might
actually
cut weight. Might cut weight if I wasn't lazy.
I was listening to a interview with Roy Val yesterday, and he said his they've tried to people in his life have tried to talk to him about moving up to 135, and he's like, well, my walking around weight's 136 though. He's like, I just don't think I'm big enough for that weight class. It's like, oh my god, your walking around weight's 136. That's crazy. I'm not trying to take away from how tough and they are. It's just you get to the it's not the very top level of the 125. There's just not as many finishes. That's why I think Kopp is such a star in the making for that division. How he just flatlines everyone.
Where's Roy Val's fight camp? Auschwitz?
He's Factor X more Thai.
All right, that's all I had.
That's all you had. What's that about? Does he have a Hitler mustache or something?
No, and he's fighting at 136 and he's 5'9". That's scary, bro.
Oh, I was looking at his facial hair. I missed that joke.
No, he's way
Ohio
too
brain over here. Sorry about that.
tall. Forgiven.
The next fight of the night is a fight at 135, and it is Mario Batista versus Corey Sandhagen. And Corey Sandhagen is a guy that has been at the top of the 135 division for, 5 years now. It feels like, yeah. I mean, he fought Jan for the championship 5 years ago in 2021. And he's been in there with absolutely everyone except for Sean O'Malley. I feel like the fight people have been talking about for 4 or 5 years now. Batista is just a year younger than him. These two have fought once before. I think it was Batista's first or second fight in the UFC. Yeah, he was subbed by. It was his first fight in 2009. Sandhagen subbed him in the first round, so it's a rematch. And I think this one is going to go somewhat like the first one. I don't see it being a first round sub, but I definitely see Sandhagen getting the win. He is currently a minus 156 favorite. I thought he would be closer to minus 200, minus 225. KJ's giving me a look like he's a little confused and he's on the other side of this, but I like Sandhagen a lot in this one. I think he is going to be better on the feet. I think he's going to have better grappling. Maybe not better grappling overall, but I think he'll be able to control the grappling and not let Batista take him down and dominate him. And I like Sandhagen in this one a lot. KJ, what do you think is happening in the Sandhagen-Batista fight?
I just apologize if you think that my facial expressions were any type of me disagreeing with you because I'm 1000% on board.
Okay.
I'm shocked that he's only minus 155. Shocked. I do not, like you said, see this being a first round finish. I unfortunately could see this being a little bit of a snoozer. I see Sandhagen definitely outpointing him. I think Sandhagen should have definitely, like you said, been in there with O'Malley in the White House card. Sandhagen can be really fun to watch, and then he can really help put you to sleep sometimes too. I think the matchup here is tough. I don't really see him finding that sub like he did before. I think he is the better grappler, but I think I could see this one kind of being on the feet, them kind of just throwing, some kicks and punches, throwing points, and Sandhagen just kind of edging it out. I like Sandhagen by decision in this one. I don't think it's going to be anything that people are going to be talking about on Sunday, to be honest with you. I think Batista's really good. Um, but I think Sandhagen's better. And yeah, with those odds, you can't go away from Corey on this one.
No, and Sandhagen by points is plus 185, which I think there is a very likely case this
Corey,
one goes.
Cody?
Corey, did I say Cody? Corey
I don't know.
Sandhagen
I
by
might have
points
said Cody, yeah.
is 185 right now, and I think there's a very good chance this one goes to decision. So getting him at plus 185 by points is, I think, pretty good value. Casey, what do you think is going to happen in this one?
Yeah, that's my play. Sandhagen by decision plus 185. I think that might be either my favorite or second favorite play of the night. Again, this was a fight that I had to kind of go back and, refresh my memory on who these guys are, what their fighting styles are, watch some YouTube videos, do some, reading, research. But look, Sandhagen is just the cleaner, more creative striker, I think, and he's got a resume against the kind of the best bantamweights in the UFC throughout his career. I think he's got the kind of the takedown defense. I think he's got the ability to use his legs and and counter punches to avoid Batista trying to grapple with him. I think he can get Batista into some, kind of volatile, bad exchanges with him. And I think Sandhagen will... I just don't think Sandhagen necessarily has maybe the speed and power to knock him out, but I think Sandhagen dominates the fight, kind of, death by 1,000 paper cuts. So I'll take Sandhagen in the decision.
All right, we're all aligned on that one. I don't think there's a whole lot else to say. I agree with KJ. This would be my pick for snoozer of the night. So let's move on to these next three fights of the night. Or what do we?
Two.
We only got two. Yeah,
We're on the co-main.
The co-main, which this is such a fucking awesome fight. We got Paddy the Baddy Pimblett versus BSD. We got the English versus the French. We got awesome fight all around. I'm so excited for this. I am as excited for this one as the main event. The current odds are Paddy is plus 115. BSD is minus 145. Somewhat surprising odds to me. But Casey, these are two guys I know you know well, so I will throw it to you and let you lead off for this one.
Yeah, honestly, this fight, I think I'm more excited for than, even Holloway and Conor. It's close, and this is a very deserving co-main event. Look, my heart is 150,000% with Paddy Pimblett. I like Paddy. I know that, some UFC hardos think that, he maybe gets some unfair... I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. He gets kind of unfairly propped up by the media because he is a big personality, and yeah, and look, we talked about it last time I was on a recording with you guys a few weeks ago. I mean, the guy went the distance with Gaethje, proved that he might have the best chin in that division, right? I mean, after we saw what Gaethje did to Ilya, making him tap out, making his corner tap out in mid-fight, and Paddy went the distance, and I'm shocked that he's fighting again already. I thought it would take a little bit longer for his face to heal up, but the bone fractures in the face must not be as bad as I wasn't anticipating. I mean, I'm definitely rooting for Paddy. BSD definitely scares me, but not in the same way that he did pre-Dustin Poirier a few years ago when Poirier was able to knock him out. Ever since that Diamond fight, he's just seemed a lot more or a lot less invincible to me. And I know he lost his next fight after the Poirier fight, and then I think he's won a couple in a row since then. So he's coming in good form. And look, they call him the God of War. He's a super technically sound, disciplined fighter. He's very tough to beat, but I think Paddy with his ability to kind of drag him into the deep water, get him into more of a boxing, trading strikes back and forth. And then Patty's ability to kind of wrestle. And Patty's got a great ground game and grappling game and submission, game as well. So I just don't know where BSD is going to have the advantage here necessarily. Maybe a little bit stronger, but I think Patty's got the better chin. I think Patty's the younger fighter. I think Patty's the more fun fighter to root for, and I'm taking Patty. I'm going to take Patty. He's plus 115 currently. I'll take him money line, and then I'll throw in a second bet. Well, no, you know what? I'll take Patty, and I'll take over 1.5 total rounds. So that pays plus 200. Patty Pimblett money line over 1.5, and that'll be my play on this one.
Okay. I'll go next. I agree with a lot of what Casey said. I think Patty is going to be a little better on the feet. I think the grappling is going to be interesting to see if BSD is able to take him down. But even if he is, I think Patty has good enough grappling defense and submissions that he'll be dangerous and able to survive. I think BSD has a chance of gassing out. He has shown in the past that he will go all out for a finish. He will punch himself out. He will get exhausted. He did it somewhat in that in the Dustin fight. Moicano, I think, finished him the fight after that. I think Patty has a little Moicano in him where he has the ability to get you in really bad positions on the ground if you're trying to grapple with him and you shoot a bad takedown or you get out of position. And the way I'm playing this is I'm playing Patty inside the distance at plus 220. I love it. I think BSD will gas out, and I think Patty will either club and sub him or find the knockout. And that might be wishful thinking, me just rooting for Patty. I'm not the biggest BSD fan overall. Very, very entertaining fighter. I love watching him fight. I love his style, but I'm just a guy I like to root against, a guy I like to bet against. I remember I saved a night with the Dustin Poirier KO. I was in a deep hole that night. And I think I got a Dustin KO like plus 450 or something and dug myself out of it. So I feel like I tend to like or not like fighters based on my betting results in the past, and that is the case with BSD. So I'm going to throw to KJ and see if he is against the Siggins brothers on this one or with us.
I hate that I went last on this one. I might find a new podcast because I could not agree with both of you more. Everything the two of you said, I couldn't agree more with. I think that BSD's really tough, really good. I mean, the guy subbed Ruffy, who we just saw look absolutely incredible versus that super old
Chandler.
guy, Michael Chandler.
Chandler.
No, you didn't. I was building up a joke, but yeah, I mean BST is really good, and I mean he was dominating Dustin in that entire fight too. But like you guys said, I mean I think they're pretty equal on the feet. BSD is like 8-0 when it comes to a fight ending in a submission. I think this is the night where, whether it be in Patty's guard or somewhere, I like Patty finding that neck or finding an arm or like just something juicy where BSD gets tired and that being the way that it goes. But dude, I know, like, I get the hype behind Patty, but I think it's deserving. Like you guys said, the fight with Gaethje, he's a scouser. He doesn't get knocked out, and I don't think he does. I think he's got like a similar like toughness to him that he just doesn't get knocked out. And I think he survives long enough to find a way to get this done, even if he is getting beat up badly in the first or second round. I think he finds a way, and I think he gets it done. And I think it sets up an incredible fight because I think the UFC needs him to win. Because if you can possibly set up him with, him with Gaethje again, if Max beats Conor, or him with Taporia, regardless of how the last fight go, like there's just so many fun fights because this guy puts asses in the seats. You want him to win, like regardless of like how much hype he deserves or doesn't deserve. I want to see this guy win. He's super exciting. He's fun to watch. He's fun to hear when he's talking on the mic. I want him to win. I love Patty. Throw him up 100%, but I like him by sub. Somewhere he's going to sub BSD, and BSD is going to lose by the first time ever by submission.
Yeah, he has 11 submission wins and 0 losses. But Patty by sub right now is plus 600. So that's pretty juicy if you can find it. And I'm just thinking about, I feel like Dustin had him in the guillotine like 3 times,
Many times,
and
yeah.
just didn't actually choke him out. But he'll put himself in some dangerous positions. So I don't hate that at all. And that's, like I said, I'm taking the inside the distance because of that.
Let me ask you guys something. You guys, I think, probably have a little bit better understanding of the fighter mentality and kind of game plan from a technical standpoint, or how these guys game plan from a technical standpoint going into a specific matchup, right? And if you're BSD and, you watch Patty's last fight, which is the Gaethje fight, and you see him withstand that kind of punishment on his feet, in the striking game, and the type of chin that he has. I don't want to say not throw punches. I mean, obviously he's going to throw punches, and you have to kind of keep him honest. But is the striking attack less of a focal point for you if you're BSD? With the logic being, well, look, I mean, if he can take that kind of beating from Gaethje and stay standing through 5 rounds, maybe I kind of reserve more of my energy for the takedowns and for the grappling, try to get him into submission. Or do you just kind of like you just fight? If you're BSD, you fight your fight. You don't change your style. You don't adjust because Patty didn't get knocked out by Gaethje. But you guys kind of know what I'm asking there. Like, does a fight like that for Patty, even though he lost, does it change the way that guys like BSD approach him in a fight like this?
I don't think that deters you from because what did we see? Gaethje beat the hell out of him for a full fight, right? Like, yeah, he could take it, but we didn't go to the judges' scorecards thinking, did Patty do enough? Like, no, he beat the hell out of him. So I don't think you go into a fight looking for a finish. You're looking to see like where you have the biggest advantage. I think BSD goes in this fight I think he knows that Patty has a great ground game, that he's super, funky off his back, and he can throw things up really from anywhere. So I think it's scary to take him down. I think if anything, you want to stay on your feet. And yeah, you might not put him out of there, but at least you're thinking, I could control the fight here. And if it goes 15 minutes, it goes 15 minutes. I'll try to beat him up. But you're also like, not knocking him on this, but people, oh, he's a Green Beret from France. Okay, like that's like being like the best, linebacker in India. I don't. That doesn't really worry me. I love Patty in this fight. I just, if we're matching durability and we're finding like who has the weaker chin and who's finishable, that's where I'm gonna lean BSD versus Patty. You can't finish Patty. So if you're going to beat him over 15 minutes, I mean, God bless, you very well could. But I think that's the only way BSD wins. If we see a finish here, which I want to see a finish, I think it comes at the hands of Patty.
I hope so. And to answer your question, Casey, what I was going to say is I don't think your ability to take a beating, it changes someone's game plan. I think your ability to knock someone out is what changes someone's game plan. And
Makes sense.
I don't think Patty has necessarily shown that. And BSD hasn't shown pretty much any change in how he will fight. He just goes for. It is a very exciting fight style. I really like it, and I like watching his fights. He goes forward. He tries to get the finish. He's not afraid to get finished, and that's what I anticipate him doing with Patty. I don't feel like he will be afraid to take Patty down at all, even if it's not the smartest play. He doesn't seem to care. He just moves forward and tries to dominate people.
This
Did you
fight
guys
will be
know?
a more durable, more polished version of the Bobby Green McKinney fight. Two guys that are just going to go out there and go crazy, but two guys that are just better and have a better chin.
I agree. That is a pretty good comparison.
Do you guys know BSD's never won by decision? It's only, I mean, he's got 17 wins, and obviously, finishing guys is more impressive than winning by decision. But, you look at kind of the breakdown of how these guys have won their fights. BSD is 35% knockouts and 65% submissions, and Patty is 30 knockouts, 43 submissions, and 26 decisions. So Patty's got a little bit more diversity in his ability to win fights in a variety of different ways, and I think that'll play to his advantage. No,
Yeah, that is. I did not realize that all 17 of BST's fights were, or of his wins were finishes.
I didn't either.
But I stand by my pick. I think he gasses. I think Patty will find the finish, and I think this is my pick of fight of the night. If the last fight was my pick for snoozer of the night, this is definitely fight of the night.
100%.
And that takes us to the main event, the long-awaited return of Conor McGregor. It has been 5 years, and he takes on Max Holloway. What a matchup. What a return for Conor. I got caught up watching one of the UFC embedded videos that they put out about the return this week when I was working out yesterday, and I was so pumped up. They do such a good job with promotion. Conor does such a good job with any interview. You would think that taking 5 years off is the best thing you could possibly do for a fighting career, the way he talks about it. The way he sells the fight is just so entertaining. I'm so excited to see what this is all about. I will throw it to KJ first so we don't steal what he says. What do you have on Conor McGregor is currently plus 176, Max Holloway minus 230?
Dude, this fight way more interesting than I would have told you 2 months ago. I think McGregor is in a great mindset for this fight. I think that McGregor's been training hard for this fight. I think he's humbled himself a little bit. I think he realizes what a fucking retard he's been for a long time now. But I think Vegas has also done the dirty work and made this a line where I don't know how I can go against. I mean, we're talking about Max Holloway, who's been an absolute staple in not only the divisions that he's fought in, but also just the UFC as arguably the best boxer we've ever seen. He's had arguably the best gas tank we've ever seen. He might be the toughest guy we've seen. I was at the first fight in Boston when they fought on like the second prelim of the night, right? We're talking like 14 years ago, something like that. So this is not the same fight. Max fought a little bit scared in that one. He was like 21 years old. I don't know how you can bet against a guy, even if it is at 170, that has fought as often as he has, at the success that he's had. A guy that put our current lightweight champ out cold with seconds left in the middle of the octagon. I don't know how you can put your money against Holloway in this fight at only being minus 240 against a guy that hasn't even been in the cage. And even when he was most recently against Habib and Poirier looked terrible. How do you go against Holloway here? I think Holloway wins. I think you put all your chips in China on this fight not seeing more than 2.5 rounds because it won't. If McGregor finds him, it's going to be in the first round and a half. If it goes any further than that, if Holloway hasn't finished him yet, it's no way it's going to a fourth round. Yeah, I'm super confident in this one, more so on the under 2.5 rounds. But dude, Max is kind of like, how minus 240 for this guy? Come on,
I
Max
think he,
all dead. You have to.
I think he opened minus 450 too.
Yes. And those are the odds where I was like, be careful, be careful. Now he's cut that in half. Come on, dude. You got to go with Max on this one.
All right, that is somewhat surprising. I thought I was going to get a Conor McGregor pick out of you. Maybe I'll
At
get it
plus
out of
400, yes.
Maybe I'll get something out of Casey. Casey, what do you think on this?
Yeah, I mean, look, I love Max Holloway. I love Conor McGregor. I think they're two of the best personalities. You know, Conor definitely more well known, more mainstream, but I think Max Holloway in a little bit more quiet, subtle way, but has always been a ticket for the UFC and his ability to sell fights because of his style and his ability just to trade bombs and fight with a lot of volatility and just have a fun style, right? So I like Holloway. I have a bad taste in my mouth from the last BMF fight we saw him in against Oliveira, and I don't know if that's fair or not. Oliveira is kind of a beast and probably a bad stylistic matchup for Holloway in that one. Conor definitely more his style and a boxer, traditional boxing. I expect this to be more of like a traditional boxing match. So kickboxing match, I guess I should say, but look, I'm going to take Conor. And it's only because he's such good odds. You know, I do think that this will be a knockout one way or the other. So I'll take Conor. I think people there seems to be this groundswell amongst kind of the UFC community and even casuals that kind of pay pretty close attention to the sport like myself. But there seems to be this groundswell that Conor, because he hasn't fought in 5 years, is washed and done, and he's an ancient kind of artist. Like, this isn't Mike Tyson fighting at 65. The guy's 37. He's 2 years younger. He's going to turn 38 actually a week from tonight. He's a year younger than King Green, who we said earlier, not too old to beat T-Rex, right? And Max Holloway is not like a 24-year-old with incredible cardio and an incredible cardio advantage over him. Like, Max Holloway's in his mid-30s as well. You got Krylov and Whitaker, both in their mid-30s. Like, Conor's a little bit older than them. He should be as healthy as he's ever been. And, look, I don't know. Is the partying and the lavish lifestyle and living in excess, is it going to catch up to him? And is he just not going to have that same edge that we saw him have in, kind of the mid to late 2000 teens? That's the big question. But Conor, I don't think Conor would waste his time coming back and not being in shape, not ready to fight. He may not have the same kind of, he may not have that same kind of quick twitch, firepower that he had when he was knocking guys out back in his heyday. But I don't think he's going to come out and waste our time. I think he's going to throw bombs with Holloway. And, we haven't seen him in 5 years, so who knows what he looks like. He could be bigger, stronger, more powerful, and just a little bit less quick. So I'm going to take Conor to win this.
All right. Are you taking him just straight up to win at plus, what's he?
Yeah.
Plus 176?
Yeah, I'll just take the money line, yeah.
Okay. I'm glad someone took Conor. I am on the other side. I am embarrassed to say that just watching the UFC Embedded, I believe is the show, almost got me to flip. Conor's so good at selling himself. But then reality set back in. I started looking. Conor has one win in the last 10 years. He beat Donald Cerrone, who was well on his way out at that time.
The cowboy.
Since then, I mean, 2 fights against Dustin in 2021. That's 5 years ago. He was already coming off a break from coming back to those. So he's really coming off this is his second break he's coming back from. He's at 170, which I don't necessarily think is that big of an advantage. He's 5'9", Max is 5'11". I guess he might be walking around carrying it a little longer than Max has since Max just recently fought at 155. But I mean, Max has the frame to carry that weight. He looks like he's in shape. I think he gets it done. I'm looking at Max round 1, 2, or 3 KO is plus 170 right now. That's kind of where I'm leaning. It wouldn't shock me if it happens in the second or third round. If Conor doesn't come out and get the knockout early, I think Max's volume and pace is just going to put it on Conor, who hasn't been in the ring in 5 years. I do agree with you, Casey, that I don't think he would waste his time to come back if he didn't think he was able to win. But I just think he's delusional at this point. And I think he's, you brought up Whitaker, you brought up all these guys that have been fighting who are already on, you can question their age at the point, and they've been active. So at 37, 5 years off against a guy like Max, I have to take Max. I'm taking him plus 170 in the first 3 rounds, getting the KO. I will also take him just overall, just minus 230. I'm going to have a unit on both of those. I like Max. And worst case scenario, Conor comes out and gets the knockout, and I lose, but it's a great story, and we got a great fight coming up next with probably Conor, unbelievably, if he wins this by knockout, will have his choice. Does he want to fight Islam for the title at 170 or Gaethje for the title at 155 after 5 years off? That's the power of Conor McGregor.
You think he would go right to a title fight?
Yes. Yep. He has one contract or one fight left on his contract, and then he would be able to do whatever he wanted after that. But yeah, I think. And like for Gaethje, if he wins that, Gaethje's always said he wants to fight Conor. That's the money fight. That's the best matchup.
That would
fight
be
for Gaethje.
Yeah. That would be a huge fight.
They both retire after that fight, regardless.
Or I mean, God, I'm getting so ahead of myself. I'm seeing Conor win this weekend. Conor beats Gaethje, and then Conor says, "I'm going up, and I'm coming the double champ again." Islam, I'm coming for you.
Good luck.
You know what? I want a unit. Oh man. Hold on. Let me look at something.
If you're betting McGregor, let me at least advise you to bet him in the first round. First or second round.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say I want I don't see where it's at though.
McGregor first or second round KO right now is plus 390. First, second, or third is plus 320. I don't see McGregor winning past the third round.
No way.
I just want to see, like, I'm rooting so hard for the Max Holloway point down and to see those two square up in the middle of the octagon as the last 10, 15 seconds of round 5 tick down. Probably not going to happen. This fight probably doesn't go the distance, but it's plus 340 to get there. And, I don't know if I just have like kind of a warped sense of fights like these, their ability to go the distance, because I saw that Hokit Miami fight go the distance, and those guys were just heavyweights throwing bombs at each other. So now I just like think that, well, if those guys can go the distance, this fight could go the distance, right? Which is probably just a retarded way to think about it. But I want to see it, so give me a half unit on the fight to go the distance at plus 340.
Okay.
You better have some party favors in the corner.
I'm not even seeing that listed. Total. Oh, here. Oh, fight to go the distance. Okay, yeah, there we.
I almost switched to will round 5 start at plus 220. I was like, well, if round 5 starts, just take the plus 340 to go the distance.
Well, I'm glad you're on Conor, because it's boring when we're all on the same side and all aligned, which we were seem to be on the Patty fight. But it's just such a fun matchup. I don't know who else. Honestly, Michael Chandler would have been a better matchup for Conor because that's someone he could probably easily have actually got a knockout in his return. But besides that, this is such a like the perfect stylistic matchup for his return. I'm so excited. I don't think we'll be disappointed like the BMF fight.
Well, hey, what about I was gonna ask you guys. I mean, if Patty wins and Connor wins, couldn't we see an Ilya Gaethje rematch and then a Connor Patty mega fight in Europe to then face the winner, the belt holder in that division?
You know, I think is more realistic. It would be Ilya Patty fighting on that card, and then Connor Gaethje. Gaethje's already said he doesn't want that rematch right away
With Ilya.
Yeah,
I don't
I
blame
don't
him.
see. Yeah, I don't see that happening. But I would see if Patty gets this win, I think that is a very realistic next fight for him. Ilya. KJ, what do you think on that?
Yeah, it's all about what puts the asses in the seats, and I don't know that Ilya and Connor really want to fight each other. So, I mean, Connor and Patty.
Patty. Are they
So I
buddies?
don't I don't really see that happening. But if Gaethje and Connor, like if Connor does win and that fight, that'll be the biggest fight in UFC history, one
For
thousand
sure.
percent. I think this card's gonna give crazy numbers as it is. Anytime you put Connor on a card, it's gonna give big. I think we've seen that in the odds. Like I said, like Casey, 2 weeks ago I would have 1,000% been on board with you because the odds just said, "How can you bet against Connor like this?" But them going in the direction they are, I just don't know how at the value I can't sway towards the guy that has never left the UFC and has been a staple of the organization.
Yeah, look, I
Yeah.
love Holloway. This is not an anti-Holloway pick. This is let's have some fun. Let's throw a unit on
Totally.
Connor at plus 175 or whatever he is to win. And if Max wins, good. Like I mean, if Max wins, it's the last kind of we see of McGregor is like a competitive, like headliner UFC fight, right?
I think he'd still headline one more fight. It would be sad, but he'd still sell it somehow. I don't know who they match him up with, but yeah,
Oliveira.
no, that's a bad matchup for him.
For like the
It'll
BMF
be
title, I
another
was thinking.
striker. It'll be someone a little bit older. I don't. I don't know. It is I mean, if Patty loses and Connor loses, I mean, then you have a little bit of,
I was
you
gonna
know,
that
momentum
could
right there.
happen.
Yeah. If they both lose, I could see that gaining some traction and being a big fight. But I don't know. It's hard to say right now because if
And I
Connor
know,
does, it takes a lot of wind out of those sails.
yeah, and
And on the flip side, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just looking at Max's fight, his previous fights, and I know MMA math doesn't work, but I'm just thinking back to him in July of 2025, so just last year, and Dustin's retirement fight. How good he looked in that fight, just piecing Dustin up. And I'm just thinking about how 4 years previous to that, Dustin was doing the same thing to Conor twice. And now Connor's 5 years removed from that. I might be talking myself into multiple more units on Max somehow.
My question was going to be, on the flip side, let's say Connor does catch Max and knock him out in round. Where does Max go from here? With back he lost the BMF title in pretty dominant fashion. He gets knocked out by a 5-year layoff Conor McGregor. Like, is this kind of the start of the end of the road for Holloway as a serious contender in his division if he loses again now?
That's a good question. That's
I could see him fighting the loser of the BSD Pimblett fight.
Yeah, I could see that too. If he wins, Does he get a title shot with Gaethje? Does Gaethje want to get that highlight knockout back?
I
I mean, he
think
broke.
that's a great fight.
I agree, and it sucks, but it seems like Armin might be like third or fourth in line all of a sudden.
Fuck Armin, dude. Honestly, stick to wrestling and hanging out with camels. I don't know. I'm good.
Yeah, I
Not a
mean
big Armin guy. Do you know who Armin even is, Casey?
Yeah, we talked about him last time. You
Oh,
guys were
yeah.
saying that he was probably like resume wise and kind of track record wise, he was very deserving of a title shot. But from a like I I know I've seen him before, but I can't even like picture him now in my head. But yeah, I mean I don't know. That's a stacked division in terms of like star power now. All of a sudden with Gaethje and Ilya and Patty and potentially Conor and Max, like like there's just guys who sell put asses in the seats better than Armin. I think.
I think that's the perfect way to put. Like, you know who he is. I think most people know who he is. But
Yeah.
is that going to sell a fight? Dana White is a businessman. He's looking to make money. You're not making money off Armin. You're just not.
no. When was the last time he even fought? I came in like,
Dude, I think it might have been like 2 years ago.
yeah,
Let me ask this one. Speaking of guys who like Armin who've been inactive, what's going on with the heavyweight dude? What's his name?
John Jones.
No, Aspinall. When the fuck are we gonna see Aspinall again?
Probably see him and Gone in France, maybe.
that's what
Um,
the hope is. I think.
yeah. I don't think there's anyone else you can really put against Gone right now. I think that division sucks, to be very honest with you. Obviously, it's heavyweights, and people like to see knockouts. So, yeah, it's a fun division. And just saying I'm the heavyweight champion carries a lot of value. But, yeah, I mean, the guy's wearing an eye patch right now. So,
Yeah, I think France against Ghana is what everyone's hoping for. Possibly at Madison Square Garden. I've seen too. I think that's the November card usually. So hopefully he's in the ring by the end of the year. But there hasn't really been many updates on him. Just had eye surgery and recovering. So hopefully we hear something soon.
if he can't do it, Hokit will step in.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see Hokit fight a lot of guys. The Pereira fight would be interesting. Hokit going down to 205 is very interesting to me as well.
I agree. But I think Hokit's kind of maxed out his potential in the heavyweight division.
Really, you don't see him getting into beating those top five guys?
Dude, he's too small. He's not big enough. I mean, he was scared of getting too close with Derek Lewis. I He fought Blades tough, but I think that was when Blades kind of got weathered down a little bit, and that's when he was like. But even that, like, I just saw Blades' fight in the pitcher kid. What was his name? Acosta Cortez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was a like MLB level pitcher, and he got in trouble for fighting people in the dugouts.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he's either Puerto Rican or Dominican.
Damn. Well,
Maybe
that
Cuban. One of those baseball countries.
do you either one of you guys have anything else for this card?
Dude, I'm pumped. If Casey's right on this one, God bless. But yeah,
Look,
I'm just
I don't feel confident about it, but I remember what I was going to say, and it wasn't a question; it was more of like a point that I wanted to get on the recording. But I was reading the other day that Holloway, he was talking about how he's fought now at 145, 155, and 170, and he's talked about how 145 is just torture. That's a torture camp for him to get cut weight and keep weight down, and just like he's essentially skin and bones by the time he gets to the weigh-ins, right? 155 is a good comfortable. He can make that. What he was saying though, the point of the quote was 170. Like like eating and fueling and my entire camp is all about like performance and technical skills and not about like cardio and weight management, right? So it's a camp that he made it seem like has been much more kind of productive for him leading into this fight at 170. And then, I saw, shortly after that, another quote from John Anik, who said, look, Holloway has told me before that he's going to fight at 185 before his career's over. So maybe, like, I know Holloway doesn't have much experience in these higher weight classes, but in the second half of his career, or down the stretch of his career, this might be this 170 weight might be his more ideal fighting weight.
It definitely could. He's 5'11", so he's not. He can have the frame to do it. If he doesn't lose his quickness, he won't be too small. I do agree at 145 he was pretty skin and bones. He didn't look like a guy that was going to move up in weight, but he looks good in training. He looks like he's put on the weight the right way. His body just in general, he has a good frame, so I feel like he puts on weight in a way where it looks natural and it's not just like he's like bloated and all of a sudden it just kind of looks like he's trying to put on weight. It looks very natural, so I wouldn't be surprised. I think 185 seems crazy for Max, but I mean, you look at Bobby Knuckles is only 6 foot and he just moved up to 205, so it's not like he doesn't have the frame. It's just at that weight, I feel like Oliveira showed what good grapplers will do to him, and that is what will happen at those higher weight classes.
In that fight, was that Oliveira fight? That was a catch weight. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I believe 5.
Max. I mean, people get older, they get bigger, right? It's just natural. We see all these guys end up moving up. He's way too big for 145. I think 55 is probably like a natural division for him. But I know for a fact that the guys that he spars with and works out with are all 170, 185. I mean, he walks around at like 180. He's a big dude. He's not like some skin and bone. Like who's the guy you said earlier that walks around at 136? He's not Brandon Royval. Like no, this is a guy that like he's a man. Like and he is in his mid 30s now. Like 170 is not a stretch for him. I think he could definitely cut if he needed to cut, but 145 is definitely in the past. 155, 170, I think is where I'll stay. 185 might be a little bit of a stretch, but dude, he guy's a banger. I wouldn't be shocked to see him go in there and fight someone at 185 either, but I love Max.
Yeah, and he has the star power, and he's earned the right that he can choose who he wants to fight at 170 or 185. He doesn't have to, fight the Dagestani wrestler at that weight class. No. He's earned that, so it wouldn't shock me. But I am looking at right now the rankings at 170. I mean,
you're telling me you couldn't see him going in and fighting like if he loses, fighting like a Kevin Holland at 185.
Yeah, or like I could see him fighting Ian Gary or Prates, like both like stand up. Like I don't know if those are great matchups for him, but those are exciting fights, and I could see him fighting Jack Della Maddalena or Michael Morales might be a bit big for him, but I feel like Max wouldn't back away from any of those guys. The one guy, I mean, Islam is clearly not a great matchup for Max at 170, but I don't think we're talking about Max getting a title shot at any time soon at 170, so not an issue.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up JDM because I read that he was in Max's camp helping him train at this 170 weight class for this fight. And I'm just looking it up because I was like, well, I thought JDM was more of like a wrestler, grappler, kind of jiu-jitsu type guy, and he's more of a striker, right? So I guess that makes sense. But I was gonna say like why bring in like a 170 guy if he's not gonna kind of be the same style fighter as Conor? Do I have the wrong read on that, or did is he more of like a wrestler?
I think he's very similar to Conor.
Yeah, he's striker.
Yeah, striker. Okay, yeah, I must be thinking of someone else.
No, Islam took him down in that title fight and just kind of showed that his.
That's right. That's right. Okay, yeah.
Not it's Australian wrestling is where he's at right now. Not Dagestani.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super fucking pumped. I'll be available that night to do some reactions if warranted. I feel like hopefully there's something that happens that we can talk about.
This is one of those cards that I'm certainly not going to be in a sea of people. I'm going to be alone watch. So yeah, you reach out to me. I will be probably by myself watching these ones. I love this card.
Yeah, I'll be around. I might have to go out on my patio so I don't wake everyone up. Trying to get a word in with you two, but no, I'm excited for it. I think this card, honestly, I mean, the top two fights on this one excite me more than the top two fights on the White House card or any other card that we've seen this year. So, I mean, I couldn't be more amped up. I mean, the first three fights on the main card, fine. Two small guys, then Whitaker and Krylov, pretty vanilla. But the last two fights of the night, I think, are going to be bangers. And yeah, let's hop on and record after.
Yeah, I agree. Two medium-sized guys and then a few big guys.
Two perfectly average American-sized men.
All right, nice. Well, we got 90 minutes of shit. We'll be in contact about that Saturday night. I'm pumped.